Hey y'all, Jeff here with Jeff's Garage Unfiltered, and welcome back to another video. And I'm by my, problem child GL350. So, recap here. Yesterday did a road trip, and today is actually Christmas Day. As you can see, Mr. Huey back here behind me, he's all dressed up for the occasion at the Jeff's house here, and but anyway, yesterday went on a little road trip and got going and pulled off the highway to get, to stop at a convenience store and shut the vehicle off and got back in it to start it again and got going down the highway, and the check engine light came on. But prior to that, a couple of times down the road, the it would surge a couple of times and then just keep on going. But when I stopped at the truck stop, well, that's when all the problems started. And then after that, once the check engine light stayed on for a longer period of time, after the next 2 or 3 stops on the way back, now it's not shifting correctly. In fact, it would be hard shift out of first into second, and then after that, it would go shift normally up to 5th gear, and then it wouldn't shift anything past that. So, getting out the fancy dancy OBD2 tester that the wife got me for Christmas, and what have you come up with?
Well, I've got quite a few codes on here.
Uh-oh, now we have codes, lots of them. All right, so camera down, we're going to go pull it into the, oh, well, we're Wi-Fi connected or Bluetooth connecting, so, all right, what do we got? Here's the list of codes. I don't know if it can see it or not, but we're going to keep it on video.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Transmission has a malfunction. The message is missing. Implausible data was received from control unit of combustion engine. Implausible. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we probably need to go inside and research all of these codes to see what it's related to. You think?
Yeah.
Because there may be only just 1 or 2 codes that
there we go.
Are the primary cause.
So I generated a report of what was scanned. Okay,
so we're good.
Yeah.
It looks like the other daughter is wanting to pull in and park, but I don't think she wants to be on. Oh, I guess I had my hand over the camera. So we're going to take this inside, or at least maybe into the garage, and see what all these mean.
I'm leaving that in there.
All right, keys off.
Yep.
All right. All right, so let's go in. We can go into the garage, kick the heater on. All right, I'm going to put the camera on the tripod there, and while you're doing that, I'm going to shut the door. Yes, working on a car on Christmas Day, or at least determining what is the problem. I'm going to put a little heat on. You're going to hear some noise, a little background noise. So now, what do we have? We'll pull this, get this a little further. All right.
Yeah, there's I'll give this to you.
All right, so let's see here. Code number 11 will be stored. Well, we don't know how long it's been stored. CDI control unit, so deviation during rail pressure. I don't care about right front and rear.
It's like having a shop.
11B800. So it probably has something to do with fuel pressure.
But I got to see exactly what those codes are for. Got to get more into depth with exactly what they are for.
Okay. The control 11B800 store. All right, so we can do that.
We can also take our quick video here and go downstairs and do some research.
Okay, you can do that, and I can start. I can get the smoker going, but yeah, let's go figure out what that might be, and then is that the same codes that we got the last time you kind of did a quick diagnostic on it?
It just gave me the CDI control unit. That was it.
Okay.
It didn't give me these.
All right, so
How it did, but it says they've been stored, so I got to see how long they've been stored in.
so it has something to do with the CDI. That's the diesel injection system. So theoretically, if we cleared the codes and drove it, it could probably drive fine. But
Yeah, same way, but it's going to give you that same issue.
but well, yeah. So we need to figure out what sensor it is, or what the issue is, and could this be a Jared fix? Is this an R fix? Do we throw parts at it? You know, Jared's got or is this a fix that my buddy Jim at Freeway Car Care, he might be able to. But it does look like it's something having to do with fuel pressure or fuel. A fuel injection.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go with that. I'll probably stop the video, and then we may add to the video later. But we'll figure out what we're diagnosing at this point. Meanwhile, I'm going to go start my smoker and get a ham going. Oh, by the way, did you happen to see, sir? The car is the other direction.
Hey, that's much better.
Yeah, so now you can work on, the harness that you were working on up in here with the door wide open. I can work on, putting the floor. Also, we have the other seals that we can put on. You were doing those, and you actually were a little more successful at that than I was. And then I can work on the carpet here in the back. So, but yes, I backed the car out.
Yeah.
Drove it down the alley a little bit, and then backed it up, and then backed it in.
There you go.
So, and it gives me an opportunity to work on the trunk
Better
too.
lighting.
Yeah, with better lighting, exactly. So,
Oh yeah, look at that. Way better lighting.
I think, if we get to the point where we're not overloaded with food today, I'd like to take and have my little workbench set up. I'd like to take the trunk lid off, turn it upside down so that I can put, this stuff on it, and then put the black carpet. I've got the black carpet, so I could do that on the underneath side. It's just like the other, and this one does not have the light harness.
The other one.
Yeah, it's 2 bolts each side. Yeah, so I'm going to cover it up with sound deadening and the carpet.
They have some good foam in there.
Yeah, I know. They were trying to keep it from rattling. So, that may be something, we could do
Yeah.
before you leave today. I mean, so there you have it, folks. Still going to work on cars on a Christmas holiday. Yippee. So meanwhile, he can go down on my computer and start researching this stuff up while I get started, because I've got to get the smoker going, and then I got to start making all my potatoes. And we have more guests arriving today as well. So
yeah.
we'll have a house full. And, you know, maybe I can sneak a video, you know, just put a little clip, it's a video, set up the other tripod downstairs over by my desk and kind of, you know, maybe have just a sneak video of
Jeff's uncensored videos.
Yeah, it'd be uncensored. So, all right, thanks for watching, folks. We'll probably pick this up at another time and make more video out of it. Welcome back, and what a difference a day makes. So earlier in the video, we got out the diagnostic tool and the OBD2 device, and after further deliberation and looking at everything, come to determine that well, this guy right here is an idiot. Funny thing is okay, this is the second winter I've owned this vehicle, and some of you out there are probably thinking, well, Jeff, why are you an idiot? Well, last year we had some severe extreme cold, and you know, because there's a video out there, and I'll put a link to it about the blizzard and all the extreme cold, and having no issues with it. Well, this year we did drop down in the extreme cold, and winter diesel hasn't been available in this part of Nebraska up until about 2 weeks ago, or maybe about 3 weeks ago, but 2 weeks ago in a lot of cases. And with that, there's since we did drop down below zero, there's a pretty good remote chance, since I didn't put any fuel treatment, and it's been recommended to me to put in some Howells, which I'll get, that since I didn't have the diesel treatment and no winter diesel, I probably gelled up a little bit. Well, when the fuel system gels a little bit, it makes the engine work a little harder. But more importantly, I haven't changed the fuel filter in this at all. I've owned this now, it'll be coming up on 2 years, and the fuel filter, and even going back on the history of the vehicle, I believe the fuel filter was the last time the fuel filter was changed was at 80-some thousand miles. All right, so I'm in farm country, and guess what? A lot of folks, in talking with, when Huey was, doing the diagnosis, it all kept coming around to a fuel-related issue. Well, guess what? I ordered a fuel filter for it, and I'll probably do a video of us changing the fuel filter on this vehicle, because it was coming up with pressure issues and things like that. But with that said, it will start and it will run, it will drive, but I'm not going to put it to those paces. But there's a pretty good chance that there's clog in the fuel filter, because I probably gelled up a little bit and so forth. So I'm going to just get in and start it, just so y'all can hear it, right at the moment. And then after that point, we'll probably, I'm going to move it over to, I'll move it over for now, in case my wife needs to drive something. If she's in town, it probably wouldn't be a big thing. But we know that right now it hard shifts in first, in first gear, and then once you get past, or you get to fifth, it won't shift anything past that. So the computers are telling it, hey, we got a problem. We're going to keep the RPMs up so we can deliver fuel. And that's the DTCs that were coming up. So as you can see, it runs fine. It's right now, it's not, it's not demanding a lot of fuel because it's at idle. But when you get up into the higher RPMs, it demands it, and it's wanting to keep it, the fuel flow coming. So I already ordered the fuel filter. Probably won't be here until, today is December 26th. It's on Friday. It probably won't be here till Tuesday or Wednesday. I probably could go get one locally, but I'm going to guess I'm going to pay a little bit more. And I did not check, O'Reilly's or Advance or Napa or anything like that. In fact, I might do that because I've got to run up to the post office. I may just go and check my local Napa store just to see, what it costs. The one I have coming is like $42, and that's including shipping. So a maintenance item. And this dummy, well, God, I forgot that, these are, this is something that, you have to do with diesel, which reminds me, my 300 SD, I've never changed a fuel filter in it at all since I've owned it. But again, I've only put about 500-600 miles on it. So, I'm, folks, just a word of advice out there. You need to follow the maintenance recommendations, and this car will be all happy. So what we'll do is when I get the fuel filter, it's under the engine. It's not in the tank, like, gasoline. We'll do a video of changing the fuel filter, and then we'll clear the codes, and then we'll go drive it. So there you have it, the update video, and what a difference a day makes. Look at the sky. We have clear skies, no fog, no mist, no rain. I'm going to be outside working. I'm going to probably work on the 280 SEL a little bit. I didn't get the trunk lid taken off, so but we'll have some videos coming of me doing a little actual work because I'm on vacation through, still for the week through Sunday. So thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Tell me how much of an idiot I am. It's one of those things that, I kind of overlooked it, but once the check engine light came on and Yui got out the diagnostic, and between Yui and Megan's boyfriend, who works at he works at a Chevrolet store, he says, "Oh yeah, farmers come in every year and they get their fuel filter and fuel water separators on their Duramax diesels changed before they go into winter. Clears out all the crap that's come in into the fuel lines throughout the harvest season." So it's obviously something that needs to be done about every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. So I guess I need to read the owner's manual, which I haven't. Thanks for watching. Again, comments below. Share this with your friends. Just another issue with the GL350 that I could have probably prevented. Thank you.